Next up, we have Mandolin Young. She is the National History Day Award winner of the Jim Wingert Award for Labor History. Mandolin Young is a student from Akron Westfield in Northwest Iowa and is the National History Day winner for her project on The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. This is a project about the meat industry and the failed diplomacy that Upton Sinclair had with changing labor conditions for immigrant workers. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Mandolin Young and a few minutes for us to get set up.
Good morning. My name is Mandolin Young, and today I'll be presenting Upton Sinclair, bringing a debate to expose appalling conditions and reforming the meat industry. I aimed at the public's heart, and by accident, I hit the public's stomach. Upton Sinclair. In the early 1900s, there was a booming meatpacking industry in Chicago, Illinois. Feeling outraged with how immigrant workers were being treated, Upton Sinclair wrote The Jungle in 1906. He also exposed the unsanitary production methods of impure meat. Debate grew, as some people accused him of socialism, while others fought a call to diplomacy to change the meat industry. Diplomatic efforts were made, and as a result, Congress passed the Pure Food and Drug Act and the Meat Inspection Act of 1906. This led to the strengthening of the voice for the Food and Drug Administration, which now acts as a watchdog of food for people in the United States. In the early 1900s, there was a new reformist group movement emerging in the United States called progressivism. Progressives reacted to the rapid growth of cities and factories during the Industrial Revolution. They attacked big businesses like U.S. Standard Oil, steel, and the meatpacking industry for unjust practices. They accused these businesses of setting high prices, eliminating competition, and treating their workers as wage slaves. There were new ideas on how to deal with these big corporations. The newspaper strike of 1899 and Lewis Hind's photographs of child labor were results of this movement. But still, there was so much debate on how to deal with these corporations. Some said that we should break them. Others said that we should have the government regulating them. Business owners said that they should be left alone to run their business because they have to make a profit, right? My name is Upton Sinclair, and as a journalist, I've been asked to conduct investigations into the meatpacking industry at Armour & Swift. In 1904, there was a meatpackers union strike, which they demanded for better wages and better working conditions. But the big four meatpacking plants broke the strike with strike breakers. My primary goal: go to Chicago to interview workers and inspectors. The workers looked sick, weak, and ill-fed. They worked for measly pay that was not enough to live on. Mr. Sinclair, these dark rooms are filled with toast and raw choppings. The meat is boiled, and spoiled meat is really anything left in the grinder. The working conditions for us workers are horrid. We work all day, run all over us, only for 5 cents an hour. No rights, no sick days, and no guarantee that we're going to keep our job. My wife always says that I should join a labor's union. Bless her heart, I know she means well, but I don't want to get fired for being part of some labor's union. They say if we join a union, we'll get fired. And how's a man supposed to pay for a family when he has no job? 5 cents an hour is better than raising a family on 2 cents an hour. Touring these plants, I found they were the first to use an industrial assembly line. There were over 80 jobs, from the killing of the animal to the processing of the meat. Immigrants did dangerous work. They would work in hot summers and cold winters, being covered in blood and meat scraps, using sledgehammers and knives. Women and children over the age of 14 worked to trim and can the meat. Now on to further investigations. I will be meeting with the inspector. Mr. Sinclair, my responsibility is to make sure that the meat is safe for the public. But there's this trust between us inspectors and the meat industry. It's called a beef trust. It's a debate I really have with myself. I'm supposed to make sure that the meat is safe for the public, but what I found in our samples will horrify you. I have found rat meat, and even fingers. Now that ain't safe for the public to eat, but I get paid off, which makes ends meet. I was hired by the government, but yet I still get paid off. I'm telling you this because this has gone on for way too long, and this needs to be solved sooner rather than later. Yes, I do take the money to put food on the table for my family, but my family's eating the stinky meat too. After my 7 weeks here, I felt conflicted about two things. One was the way that immigrants were being treated. The other was about how the meat was being processed. So I decided to write my paper on wage slavery, which eventually turned into The Jungle, published in November of 1906. The Jungle is all the news around the factory. It's about a Lithuanian immigrant named Jurgis and his wife Ilona. They live in a place called Packington, Chicago. They suffer through poverty due to low wages, and Jurgis joins a socialist rally against the meat packing plant. This book shows us what it's like to work at one of these places, and there's had been no debate over our conditions. This needed to be exposed. The last line of the book, Chicago will be ours, displays the hope that people will be able to take back Chicago, be able to live the American dream. Truly, the book was a slow process. I sent it to many publishers, and them fearing lawsuits rejected me. One of the first publishers, Mandolin himself, claimed that the book was gloomy and dark. He sent it to his advisors, who said the conditions were untrue. They could have just gone to the Big Four and looked for themselves. Those conditions were true, and people dealt with this daily. There is still debate over these conditions. My primary goal, how immigrants were being treated, but people were horrified in the way that their meat was being processed. I did not really expect the reaction from my book. Some people accused me of instigating a communist takeover, calling me the dangerous red, while others wanted to change the meat industry. Even though this was not the call to action I hoped for, I joined in the debate. Reporting from the first LB in California here, what a debate over this book. One of Sinclair's colleagues, Jack London himself, raised the book. Some people are worried that authors like Sinclair are bringing socialism into America, which according to my sources, we don't even need. In other news, President Theodore Roosevelt has been getting over 100 letters a day asking the government to clean up the meat industry. He's even asked the dangerous tenant himself, Sinclair, to come to talk about these conditions. Many hope that President Theodore Roosevelt will put this dangerous red in his place and make sure he does not have a platform to promote his dangerous ideas. I did have a meeting with President Theodore Roosevelt. He reacted to my book with a few critiques. He really just wanted my ideas on how to deal with the meat industry. He was not so fond of my ideas of socialism. He told me, go home and let me run the country for a while. Changes were coming because of what I uncovered in my investigations and the Jungle's revelations about the meat industry. But to my disappointment, these were not the revelations I was hoping for. Those were yet to come. On June 30th of 1906, the Pure Food and Drug Act was passed. This stated new regulations and requirements for the meat industry. It even set penalties for inspectors who do not report conditions correctly. The The Meat Inspection Act was passed on the same day as the Pure Food and Drug Act. This stated that a representative from the Department of Agriculture had to come to inspect the meat before and after slaughtering and being processed for human consumption. In just 6 months, I was able to make a change in the meat industry. But the changes I wanted in the labor conditions were a failure. Those were yet to come. As a successful consequence of Sinclair's book, The Jungle, which sold millions of copies, there were diplomatic efforts made between the people, the government, and the meat industry. The Meat Inspection Act set the voice for the Food and Drug Administration, who says that their mission still remains today, to protect the health and safety of people in the United States. Upton Sinclair wrote The Jungle about how immigrants were being treated, but people found a different call to active diplomacy: safe meat.